I'm here with Jordan Clark for our post-match interview. Jordan, game's finished 3-0 to Farnham, but quite a positive performance for the boys tonight.
Yeah, look, you can't enjoy losing,
Yeah,
right?
of course,
You can't
yeah.
enjoy losing, and I don't enjoy losing. But what you got to say is they're excellent, right? And we none of our goals were, like horrendous errors or not doing the job well. The first goal is the way we've set up. We're doing a man-for-man situation. One of our players, who was excellent, that's why I'm not calling him out, just slightly over presses to help his mate, and then they're just good enough. Like the margins in this game, and when you play teams of that level, the margins are so much smaller. We get away with that when we play other teams.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to gauge
And
it
a
on
great
tonight.
finish as well.
That's what you got to gauge it on tonight. If you look at all the goals, the margins that they exploited are far beyond what we would normally get exploited at, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So none of the goals do I have an issue with. Well done, Farnham. I thought, we for the first 5, 10, 15, it was working a treat. But like all good teams, they found a way, punished us when we were a little bit off it. Not a lot off it, but when we were a little bit off it. So yeah, look, no issue at all, Sam, with the scoreline. Definitely deserved winners, Farnham. As good as we were defensively, we posed minimal threat. Due to how hard we worked, we worked so hard off the ball. And when we turned the ball over where we wanted to, high areas, when they got sloppy, and we could nick it, we just weren't really aggressive enough. And then we weren't capitalising on it when we got T, Eve and Hogan with the opportunity to run at their two centre-halves. We were just passing it too early, or not taking the shot on, or not driving at them. So look, no gripes. A fantastic performance from us defensively. Losing 3-0 here. If you look at the other teams in and around where we are, every other team that have played here have been beaten by more than that.
Yeah.
We had 10 men for
20
minutes or so, and they didn't score in that time. Fair, they could have took their foot off the gas, but we were defensively sound. They freshened it up with some quality players. So look, you got to call it as you see it. They're far beyond anything that we would come up against on a regular basis. We've done ourselves, proud in terms of our defensive resilience and how we work together. So yeah, I would give it, in terms of an overall performance, I'd probably give it a 6.
Yeah.
But in terms of a defensive performance, I'd probably give it a good 8 because, we were set pieces. They didn't score from a set piece. They didn't score what you would call their normal goals that you see them score every week. We were brilliant. One of them was a penalty.
Yeah.
Dyson's telling me it wasn't much in it, but penalty. I will say it. I think the ref for both teams was horrendous.
Yeah.
I will say that, which didn't help the game as a spectacle, but it didn't have an impact on the result.
Yeah.
Farnham deserved winners, and we were good. We were good.
You mentioned you didn't feel we were aggressive enough. However, we did have a few bookings.
Yeah.
And obviously Dyson did get a double yellow and sent off.
Yeah.
So what kind of aggression were you looking
No,
at?
like, we set up for them to play into areas that we, and for cliche stuff like set traps for them to, their two centre halves, one of them have it, and then they play into their normal pockets and they play into their little rotations. And where we went man for man and gave us a +1 at the back, I wanted to give the boys licence to go up against them, be aggressive, go and nick it, because then when we turned it over, we'd have an overload and we'd be able to get at them.
Yeah.
So I said to the boys, you've got to get up against them, not make it their own way. I said I wanted them to let them know that we were here tonight. We weren't going to roll over. They've not won it yet, so they're obviously wanting to win games. We wanted to make sure they knew they were in a game. And I think on reflection of it, they'll say that they had to work reasonably hard for it, even though I think, they could have gone, when we had 10 men, they could have easily gone through the gears. And I think they probably saved their legs a little bit. But yeah, we were exceptional. I was just disappointed in that sort of 10, 15, 20 minutes. People watching the game would go, there weren't really any moments. But we had moments that we worked for. and then we just didn't do enough the other side of it.
Yeah.
You know, we turned the balls over when they tried to play flat ones.
Yeah.
And we just weren't, and that's maybe down to how hard we were working defensively, and we had to be really patient in waiting for them times to come. So, and then when they did come, obviously it heightens the emotion, the anxiety in those moments. People tighten up, realise how important it is if we want to get something out of the game, and we probably just didn't have enough, composure to be able to capitalise on them. But yeah, look, fair play to them. I hope they win the league. They're well deserving of winning the league, and what a phenomenal season they've had.
Yeah.
And credit to everyone here. It's a situation that needs to be marvelled, admired, and people need to copy it, replicate it, because what the board and what the managers and what the players have done, their relentlessness is a credit to all of them. So I wish them all the best. And now we've got 8 cup finals. Yeah. That's it. 8 cup finals. Abbey won tonight. So Saturday's a massive game. Yeah. They're all worth 3 points, but in the situation you're in now, it's worth the old cliche 6-pointer. It's definitely a big game, and we've just got to prepare for it. Boys have just got to address it as they did this game tonight, and if we have a level of that performance, we'll be absolutely fine. We worked hard. The boys have come off there, bleeding from their toes. You know what I mean? They've worked so hard. So yeah, I'm massively proud, especially after the last 3. Yeah. You can see a lot about a team when you've not been performing as you'd like, you've not been as ruthless as you'd like, you haven't got the results you wanted. You could have easily rolled over, and we didn't roll over. So showed a bit of character, showed a bit of a stronger mentality, and that'll be good for us.
Is that a little bit frustrating for you in terms of the last 3 games, not showing maybe that effort? Effort.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I think it's more of the mentality. That's all I think it is. Yeah. I know it's such a broad term, but the mentality when we played the last 3 games was nowhere near the mentality we had tonight.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, we've had moments this year where we played the so-called better teams and we play the bigger games, and we are far better. Yeah. We are much more mentally prepared for that, and we've got a good sort of model that allows us to be in those games. For whatever reason, I've got to take responsibility, whether it's my approach, which doesn't differ, if it's their approach and I'm not noticing it. Ultimately, the buck stops with me. So in those games, but there's no point looking in the past, Sam. We could go back through the whole season and go, we could have done this, could have done that.
Does that make you quite confident going into these last 8 games now, isn't it?
You'd be daft if you wasn't confident, Sam. Yeah. Like, you'd be daft. Like, we're in a situation. We're in a situation where we know what we need to do, and when it's in your control, and you've got, ultimately one hand on it, and now you've just got to go and put 2 hands on it with a little mini season of 8 games. Yeah. Why on earth wouldn't you be confident? And that's what the boys have got to realise. You've got to be confident. You don't want to look back with any regrets. Up to this point, I've got no regrets. The players have got no regrets. We've put ourselves in a position, and you can only address the future. We're going to address these games. We're going to address them properly, and I'd like to be a little bit subdued, but watch this space. I think we'll turn up the heat, and if we don't, then we'll review it and we'll go again. But the whole time we've got this situation, I have no doubt we'll turn up the heat, and let's see where we end up.
On to the next one.
That's it, Abbey. See you Saturday.